From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News Weekend Edition.
Good evening and welcome to our Saturday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. I'm Katie Looper. Our top story tonight. The name of a soldier killed in an accident that happened on Wednesday has been released after next of kin has been notified. Army Specialist Tyrese Weaver was a soldier in the 125 Infantry Division. On Wednesday, Weaver was killed when a 5-ton tactical vehicle rolled on a convoy during a training mission at the Yukon training area. At least 2 other soldiers were reportedly injured and treated for non-life-threatening injuries as well. The cause of the accident is still under investigation.
1st Brigade Combat Team up at Fort Wainwright lost a soldier from injuries sustained when his medium-sized tactical vehicle rolled while they were conducting a platoon-level convoy. This exercise was part of a brigade-level training exercise. The soldier is Specialist Tyrese Weaver. He's a cannon crew member assigned to Alpha Battery 2-8 Field Artillery. We'd really like to extend our deepest condolences to Specialist Weaver's family and friends, as we know this is an extremely difficult time for them.
Defense attorneys for former senior Nanack hockey player Nolan Youngman announced yesterday they may file for a change of venue. Youngman is charged with the rape of a woman at UAF campus housing. His defense attorney said due to recent publicity about the case and, quote, new and unfounded allegations, they wanted the trial held outside of Fairbanks. Lawyers also want a polygraph examination taken by Youngman entered into court as evidence. They offer prosecutors the chance to administer their own polygraph examination on Youngman as well. Youngman has been out of jail and is in the Anchorage area with his court-approved third-party custodians. Trial is set for later this month. Not guilty pleas for a Fairbanks man accused of sexually assaulting a woman while she slept. 6-year-old Lawrence Jonas Peter was recently indicted on charges of third-degree sexual assault and criminal trespassing. According to court documents, Peter wandered into the Alaska Motor Inn and fondled a sleeping woman who was staying there. The woman allegedly left the door unlocked and awoke to the assault. Police believe alcohol played a role in the assault. Peter has been in custody at Fairbanks Correctional Center, and trial has been scheduled for August. While investigators continue to seek leads on the Kaverlik murder, Alaska State Troopers say they are continuing their investigations into homicides that have happened in the interior. According to trooper investigators, there have been 7 homicides reported in interior Alaska in 2015. That number is higher than in previous years. However, compared to Anchorage, the number of homicides continues to be lower. Anchorage Police Department detectives say as of June, they have had 16 in their jurisdiction alone. Troopers in D Attachment, based out of Fairbanks, say they have had 7 investigators who split their time working homicide cases and other crimes, including sexual assault and crimes against minors. Fairbanks Police Department reported they have had only 1 homicide in the city this year, John Kaverlik Jr.
It's higher. In even some of the recent years, it's significantly higher. And again, we're only halfway through the year, so we still got another 6 months to go, and we're hoping that we don't see any more of a increase in that. Our area pretty much spans almost down past Cantwell, down to the border, and then kind of outside a lot of the surrounding villages like Allakaket and those kind of places. So we've got a pretty big area that we respond to.
The Tanana Valley Clinic is seeing an increase of vaccination shots for measles after a Fairbanksan was observed with the virus recently. Physicians at TVC are recommending that people get themselves and their children vaccinated for measles as soon as possible if they haven't already. The measles virus is highly contagious and can be deadly to those that contract it. Symptoms include fever, severe rashes, cough, and runny nose. Health complications include pneumonia or, in rare cases, swelling of the brain. Pediatrics physician Michelle Nace says the measles vaccine has saved millions of lives.
So what the example of a measles vaccination is you are giving a small, you could think of it as a small dose of the actual virus into your body, but one which your body can control and make an antibody against it. So once you have that antibody, if you do come in contact with the actual real virus, then your body's able to fight it off. And so that makes you essentially what we would call immune for that.
Okay, when we come back, with the construction of Cushman Street set to begin next week, the public is getting a chance to voice their opinions about it. We'll have the details. Also, Fairbanks Cycle Club members took to the streets for a race around the university. Those stories and more when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. Fort Wainwright opened its borders to citizens during the Army celebration of 3 historical military events. It's been 50 years since the veterans of Vietnam flew into battle. Today, Army officials and Fairbanks citizens stood in honor for a parade of Vietnam vets at the Ladd Army Airfield this morning. The airfield also turned 75 years old today. In the beginning, the location was jointly used by Army and Air Force personnel before airmen moved to Allison Air Force Base. Tomorrow, the United States Army will be 240 years old. It was on June 14, 1775, that our nation's leaders established the Continental Army. U.S. Army Alaska Major General Michael Shields says it was the selfless service of our soldiers in the past and present that makes the Army a premier fighting force.
Our founding fathers established the Continental Army to fight what was to become a war of independence. The Army has served proudly, faithfully, and selflessly for 240 years, and we remain steadfast in our commitment to the defense of the nation we love.
With construction ready to begin next week on Cushman Street, the Department of Public Works wants city residents and business owners to have an opportunity to voice their concerns. Tuesday morning at City Hall building in the council chambers, the public will have an opportunity to discuss the upcoming construction project. The contractor, along with the traffic control supervisor, public information officer, and project superintendent, will be available for questions and suggestions from 9 to 11 a.m.
The city wanted to provide an opportunity for the downtown businesses and the residents to meet the contractor in person, meet their traffic control supervisor, meet their public information officer, meet the project superintendent. So we are going to be hosting an open house event on Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. For those people to come down to City Hall and meet these people in person. If they have any immediate questions, get those answered and exchange contact information.
Feminist icon Gloria Steinem is here to visit with the locals of Fairbanks, Alaska. Steinem is famous for her social and political activism. She also co-founded Miss Magazine, a well-known publication focused on feminism. Last year, Assemblyman and co-op member Lance Roberts argued against the co-op market selling Miss Magazine because it endorsed abortion. In reaction, it caused uproar among other store members, and Steinem got word after the story hit national news. Steinem said in the press interview Friday morning in Fairbanks that after having a desire to visit Alaska for many years, this seemed like a perfect opportunity. Last night, members of the community packed the Davis Concert Hall in several overflow rooms. Steinem is nationally recognized as a leader and spokeswoman for the feminist movement in the late 1960s. Last night, she talked about those social issues surrounding gender roles. After her speech, members of the audience lined up behind microphones and asked questions. At the press interview Friday, Gloria Steinem talked about a solution for improving social conflicts.
Well, one thing that would help is if the group that's used to having power listened as much as they talked, and the group that isn't used to having power talked as much as they listened. At least we would be in balance in that way, and people would be more likely to learn and to come to understand the other person's position and why they feel that way.
Biking can be a great motive to get outside and exercise in the summer, But in Fairbanks, it can also be a great way to make new friends. After several decades, the Fairbanks Cycle Club still comes together for bike rides and races. New members have cycled in, but they continue to meet every week. The Fairbanks Cycle Club also offers women's rides. The Ladies of Leisure meet for a laid-back ride every Thursday night at 6 in front of the Patty Center. Women on Wheels are the more experienced group that meets Wednesday nights. In addition to all the group's rides, they also host races. Last night was stage 2 of the Tour of Fairbanks. These tend to be more experienced riders that know how to ride in a pack. Last night at UAF, Amanda Bird, the race director, said their biggest issues were traffic and gravel. But after sweeping the roads, the skinny tires were ready to spin. Anyone can join and sign up to race in the cycling groups.
And the criterium is where everyone goes out in a group and they race around a closed circuit. And so these ladies racing around now are doing it 30 minutes as fast as they can go around West Ridge. And at 30 minutes, I'll have 1 minute to win. And there they go. And so as you see, there's a couple of packs and some people trying to hang on, but they may not be able to hang on.
And speaking of sports, Mike Fussel's coming up next with all your local sports action. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, sports fans. Mike Fussell here with your latest weekend action. Tonight we'll take a look at some sports we don't usually get to check out, but up first, it was race day at Pioneer Park earlier this morning. Runners got their blood pumping for the 23rd annual Mosquito Meander 5K. The event started at the entrance of Pioneer Park and traveled around town, finishing in the heart of Alaska Land. Once racers finished, they could participate in a number of festivities, such as a petting zoo. Proceeds from the event benefit Fairbanks Counseling and Adoption. This year's race saw a photo finish for the #1 spot. Keel Simon, wearing bib number 399, and Ross Enlow fought it out until the very end, finishing just a fraction of a second apart from each other. Simon, who also goes by the name Dragon thanks to a high school yearbook photo, would end up winning the race. He says he felt the competitive push throughout most of the course.
Yeah, pretty much that through the whole race, except for the start there. Those guys got a bit ahead of me, and I just wanted to keep up, see how it would go. And then coming into the finish, that one was tough because I was actually a little bit behind him. I was like a good 10, 15 feet behind him. And then we got into the straightaway coming in for the finish, and I evened out with him, and then we started sprinting, and that was brutal.
And it's not uncommon to see trucks hauling people, but people pulling trucks, well, that's a different story. Take a look at this. The truck pull was just one of several events at the Northside Strongman Classic at North Pole High School earlier today. The semi weighed in at 18,500 pounds. And in the heavyweight divisions, James Hendrickson finished in first place, pulling the vehicle the full length of the course in 31.86 seconds. Other events included a press medley, deadlift, and a challenge where athletes carried large concrete boulders called Atlas stones. More than 35 competitors from teams around the state joined in on the competition, which is only in its second year. Owner of Northside Athletics, Matthew Sadler, says winning the overall challenge is about strategy and playing your cards right.
Learning to play the game. Don't try to kill yourself all in one event. You know, if it's not your strongest event, don't get flustered by that. You still have 4 more events to do. This is the 2nd annual Northside Classic. There are 5 events. It's a sanctioned event by North American Strongmen. All competitors who win the event can go to nationals, qualify for nationals in October.
And the Alaska Gold Panthers were on the road for their first game of the season last night. The team kicked things off at Coral Seymour Memorial Park in Kenai against the Peninsula Oilers. The game would start slow but heat up in the 3rd inning. The Oilers batted in 2 runs, and the Gold Panthers' Renee Martinez would nab an RBI, making it a 2-1 ball game. Fairbanks struggled to cross home plate from then on, though, but Peninsula would tally a point in both the 5th and 6th inning, and that's how the match would end up, giving the Oilers a 4-1 victory. The Gold Panthers will be back in town next week for a full series. And the Alaska AA Wild Legion baseball team is now in regular season play. The Fairbanks Post 30 squad took on the South Post 4 group from Anchorage yesterday night. The teams are made up of top high school and aged athletes from each area. South came out swinging. They would bat in a number of runs throughout the first 3 innings. That left the score at 11-0 in the top of the 3rd. From then on, the Wild just couldn't muster up the energy to come back from the double-digit deficit. Scoring would halt with South at bat as well. That would leave the game with the Anchorage squad on top in a final score of 11-0. And don't forget, we'll be at the Midnight Sun Run next Saturday live at 11 p.m. So if you're not out enjoying the festivities, tune in to catch all the action. We'll be covering the race and the fun that goes along with it. But for now, we're about at the buzzer for sports tonight. Katie Looper is up next with your full weather forecast. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next weekend. And welcome back to our Saturday edition. I know today was a gorgeous day out there, and are we going to be seeing stuff like temperatures like that throughout the rest of the week?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I'm not going to make any promises. I know last week we reported, nice temperatures for the following week, and it got kind of rainy. Obviously, weather can change, but it is predicted to be really nice this coming week.
That sounds great. Yeah, this last week was a little rough, but let's see what's in store.
Things are changing. All right, well, let's take a look at weather for today. We had a normal high of 75, a recent low of 49. Our record high got up to 85 in 1999 and a record low of 36 in 1931. Our sun rose at 3:05 this morning. It sets at 12:40. Our daylight equals 21 hours and 33 minutes altogether. Now around the state today, we can see sunny skies in Juneau and Ketchikan around 60 degrees. Anchorage is at 72, sunny skies for them as well. Pretty much for the southwest portion of Alaska, and 63 in Bethel, 44 in Nome, again partly sunny skies. Cloudier skies in Barrow though at 46, and as for Fairbanks, partly sunny skies at 67. For the lower 48, we can see there is nice sunny skies in Seattle at 74 degrees, yet real hot temperatures in Las Vegas and Phoenix. Rain showers in Dallas at 89, same with New Orleans and Miami. As for Chicago, 86 for them, and partly sunny skies in New York at 84. For next week, very warm and dry weather for the west coast, yet as we move over to the east, cooler temperatures there in the north. Thunderstorms for most of the Midwest, yet sizzling temperatures over there on the southeast side of the United States, and up there in New York, showers for them. All right, back in Alaska, mostly cloudy at Barrow, lots of sun for Fort Yukon and Nome, 50 for Barrow and Nome, and 77 in Fort Yukon. As for the interior, abundant sunshine for all the region, nice temperatures in the 70s. As we move on down to the east, we can see sunny in Juneau, scattered rain showers for Ketchikan, temperatures at 77 in Juneau and 70 in Ketchikan. Okay, moving over to the west, sunny all across the region, pretty much sunny all across Alaska. 70s for Bethel and Kodiak and 55 for Cold Bay. All right, lastly, for our south central region, incredibly sunny and warm temperatures across the region and temperatures in the mid-70s. Okay, for tonight's forecast, 45 degrees, mostly cloudy, but tomorrow, 78, mostly sunny. And lastly, for extended outlook, let's see, nice temperatures, 75 pretty much all across the week. And let's just hope rain doesn't come.
Yeah,
we've had enough.
It looks good, and that's great because there's a lot going on this week with the solstice coming up.
Yeah.
So that should make for a lot of fun events.
Yeah, we got Midnight Sun Run, the festival downtown this weekend.
We have our very own Broadcast Academy. That should be a lot of fun.
Right, Broadcast Academy starts next week. We got 10 kids this year, and they're coming to learn all about broadcasting. It's going to be a fun time.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's going to wrap up this Saturday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News, and we're glad you could join us.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night and a good rest of your weekend.